All right, Merry Christmas. Can you believe Christmas is right around the corner? Don't panic. I'm tempted to panic. Okay, I'm not totally ready for Christmas, but it's great that we're here during this time of year. And I want to thank our band and everybody who was helping us in worship today. Let's thank our band, our singers, our dancers, everyone who make this happen. Also, too, I want to thank our members, those of you who are members of Second in advance, for being a part of end of the year giving. It means so very much to our church family, to the ministries here, and thank you so much for being a part of that this year. All right, well, let's talk about darkness. How about that? I want to ask you a question. I'm not asking for a raise of hands, but I want to ask you a question. That is, have you ever been in the dark? Now, I'm not talking about like you don't know what's going on at work or a joke or something. Hey, they're in the dark. I mean, have you ever been literally in utter darkness? Because, I don't know, I find, being in Houston for so many decades now, there's so much ambient light. You really can't experience true, deep darkness. The kind of darkness where you literally can't see the hand in front of your face. You can't see your feet walking on the ground. That kind of darkness. Many years ago, actually, when I was in college, after my junior year, I went to a work-study program up in the mountains of Colorado. There was a philosopher by the name of Francis Schaeffer who had developed a study center in Switzerland called L'Abri. And there was an American version of L'Abri in Colorado, so I went there with some friends to work half a day, study half a day. So it was up near Crested Butte, Gunnison area, and there was a home there where the leaders of this ministry lived, and then there was a log cabin, literal log cabin, near that main home. So after we would have dinner and we would do the dishes and cleaned up and we had a discussion about things, I would have to walk from the main house to the log cabin where I was sleeping. And sometimes I would forget. This is pre-cell phone. Young people, pre-cell phone. Pre the brick cell phone too. It just didn't happen, okay? So I would forget the flashlight. And I have to walk from the main house to the log cabin at like 9 o'clock at night. And it is dark. I mean, it's so dark, literally you can't see anything. I can remember walking, and as I was walking, just hitting a rock and stumbling and wondering am I gonna hit a curb and wondering how in the world am I gonna make it home? And plus, I'm a city guy, I'm in Colorado, I don't know, some wild coyote or mountain lion could jump out and attack me, or a bear, I don't know. But it was like utter darkness. And it was kind of frightening. And it was a challenge many times to make it, I don't know, about 100 yards. Now, during the light, I could see it. It's easy. Walk across that, not kick any rocks, kick the curb, and it was fine. But when darkness settled in, that was a different story. Now, I think whether you've walked in literal darkness or not, we've all been in dark places in our life. We've all done things in our life that kind of make us start leaning into the darker side of our own psyche, into the darker side of life. We think what we're doing is going to bring us light and life, but it actually brings us darkness. Now, it's interesting as you look at the Bible, God's Word, He talks a lot about darkness and about how to cure darkness. And Christmas is an interesting time of the year. It's like Dickens began his, famous novel years ago. These are the best of times, these are the worst of times. Christmas is a very happy time for a lot of people. It's a very deep, dark time of loneliness for many others. You have a mixture of Christmas. But about this time of the year, most people, at least in Texas, do something about the darkness. They begin to look at lights. Now, I grew up in a small town, small city in the southeast before I moved to the great state of Texas many years ago. I'm very proud to be in Texas. My daughters are born here, so hopefully when it all goes down, Texas will accept me. I love this place. But when I moved here, I was clueless. And when my brother Ed and I and Cliff, we moved here, everything was just big. I mean, it really was. The freeways were big. The houses were big. The cars were big. The belt buckles were big. The hair was big. The trucks were big. The Astrodome at the time was big. Everything was big. But then around Christmas time, it gets crazy because the light shows are big. It doesn't matter if you're poor, middle class, or rich. People go all out. Clark Griswold, are you kidding me? Pathetic compared to your average Texas Christmas person who wants to put out lights. So about every, Christmas season, most of us here pack into our cars and start going to different neighborhoods looking at lights, right? We have some amazing light shows that people put on for free in their homes. Now, how strange would it be if you said, I've got an idea, this Christmas season, we're gonna do it differently. We're gonna go look at dark houses. We're gonna take a walk on the dark side, right? And let's go look at some dark houses and just see how they're faring. That is just absolutely insane. We wanna go to the light. We're drawn to the light. We need, as human beings, the light. So, what is God's word saying to us today and during this holiday season about lights? Look at 1 John 1, verse 5. We looked at that a few moments ago in the Lord's Supper, in the communion time. John is writing this, and again, John was the youngest disciple, but he lived longer than all the other disciples. So he lived well into 90 AD. Christ was resurrected in 33 AD. So he's writing this letter, and he talks a lot about light. He says, this is the message we've heard from him and declare to you, God is light. God is light, and there is no darkness at all in him. If we claim to have fellowship with him, if we claim to have a relationship with God, if we claim to know God but walk in darkness, we lie and do not live out the truth. But if we walk in the light, as he is in the light, we have fellowship with one another and with God, and the blood of Christ purifies us from all sin. So, what is he saying to us? If we had to summarize that passage, he's saying simply that darkness incarcerates, but light liberates. When we give ourselves to our dark side, our shadow side, eventually that will lead to incarceration where we can't see and we need directions and we're stumbling around because we don't have a light. Darkness incarcerates, but light liberates. Light gives us direction. Light gives us guidance. Light gives us freedom. Think about it. What was God's first action? As far as we know, what was God's very first action? We know. Genesis 1:1, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was void and shapeless, and darkness hovered over the earth. And God said, let there be light. As far as we know, God's very first action, when he said, let there be light, or he pulled the trigger on the big bang, pow, there was light. God's very first action was to dispel darkness and to give this planet we call Earth light. light. We have to have light. This earth has to have light. To live and to breathe and to do life, we have to have light. God desires not for us to walk in darkness, not for us to give ourselves to our dark side, but He's designed us to walk in the light as He is in the light. So, this holiday season, as we're rushing, as we're trying to figure out what to give, as we're trying to figure out who to talk to and not talk to at the Christmas party, we're trying to do all these things and how to post these things and to retake the picture to make sure people think we have a really, really perfect life. When we're worrying about all that stuff, let's allow the light to shine through us. Let's allow the lights of Christmas, the lights we see as we drive downtown, the lights we see as we look at homes, let's allow these lights to remind us of the ultimate light, the creator of light, God Himself, and then just pray the simple prayer, God, I just want your light to shine through me this holiday season. I want to be a light at work. I want to be a light at that Christmas party. I want to be a light when I'm with my family over this holiday season. I want to be a light. God, let your light shine through me. And show me those areas in my life that are dark. Things that I'm doing, things that I'm thinking, and maybe actions I'm taking that I need to turn away from and say, God, forgive me because I want your light to shine through me. A lot of us have already done that. This past week when we had Angels of Light, and we had thousands and thousands and thousands of needy families and children come to our campus. And many of you volunteered your time because you wanted to be an angel of light and to shed light to people during the Christmas season. But pray that prayer. As I pray that prayer, as you go through these days, as we are waiting for the coming of the light, as we're looking forward to Christmas, pray that God will shine His light through you. I want to be a light, right? I want to be a light. I think we all want to be a light. You say, well, man, I'm going through a tough time at Christmas. It's a very lonely time, a difficult time, a depressing time. I get it. At the same time, you've been designed to reflect God's light. So in the midst of that, pray that prayer. God, I want your light to shine through me. I want to be a light for you this holiday season. It's interesting. I've observed this lately. Maybe you've observed this too. Have you noticed, speaking of cell phones and smartphones, how much time people just hang out in their cars and parking lots? You've noticed that too. People are sitting there in their trucks, SUV cars, and they're doing stuff. Some people are actually working. Their car is their mobile office. Some people are probably watching videos. Others are on social media. But people spend a lot more time just sitting there in their cars. I find that fascinating. And I want to just kind of challenge you to do something, but you can do it. Next time you're out in a parking lot, go in front of, say, a Walmart or Target, and just kind of put your car there and just put your phone down, and just kind of watch people go in and out of one of those stores. This is amazing, isn't it? It's you watch someone go in and out of Target. They go to the door and that glass door just opens and they walk in, and the door doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter how smart you are, how rich you are, how poor you are, how dumb you are. It doesn't matter who you are. how big you are, how skinny you are, how buff you are, how whatever you are, whatever color hair, curly, straight, a little bit of gray, it doesn't matter. You watch this in the car, you walk in front of that door, people walk, and it just opens the door. How does that happen? How does that door do that? Light, right? Light. There's an invisible light beam that hits whoever stands in front of one of those automatic doors, and when that light hits them, regardless of their past, regardless of their future, regardless of anything about them, when the light hits them, it opens the door, and they can walk into the store. That's what happens when we have a real encounter with God. Can't explain it. We may not can see it, but when his light hits us and shines in our heart and our mind, have you noticed it just opens the door to a new reality, to a new hope, to a new possibility. And it brings us out of darkness into light. It's my prayer for you that this Christmas season you might experience his light, and that light might open a new door for you.